Sarah Rodriguez, an elderly woman living in Greece with her daughter's family, returns to the Philippines. Her granddaughter Winona picks her up and takes her to Santa Monica, a quiet town in the countryside. Together they visit the old house where Sarah once lived as a young girl. The story then flashes back 49 years. An elderly scientist rushes into a shed where he keeps several wild dogs and a werewolf for his experiments. As he opens the cage to feed the creature, he suddenly collapses and dies. Years later, Sarah arrives at the old house with her mother Stella and her sister Mimi, hoping to begin a new life. While unpacking, they meet Juancho, a rude and arrogant young man who immediately irritates Sarah by mocking her old guitar. Stella thanks him for allowing them to stay in the house, and Juancho tells them they can ask for help whenever they need it. As soon as Stella and Sarah are out of sight, Juancho's unpleasant nature surfaces again. He carelessly tosses Sarah's guitar back to Mimi and throws a ball away from her friends, leaving them stunned. That night, the family shares dinner with their neighbors. Mang Josep admits that the house is not as frightening as he expected. When Stella asks why people are afraid of the house, Lola Letty explains that the previous owner is a mysterious old man who lives alone and keeps feral dogs and a wolf for his experiments. After he dies, several weeks pass before anyone discovers his body. As they continue cleaning the table, Stella reveals that Juancho, the son of her late husband's business partner and a co-owner of the property, allows them to stay there temporarily. Mang Josep then asks if her husband is in Manila, and Stella quietly reveals that he passed away 2 years earlier. Later, while relaxing outside, Stella explains that they moved to the countryside to help Sarah recover from a lung condition that forces her to stop attending school. She sadly admits that her daughter spends most of her life isolated, never making close friends, and rarely experiencing genuine happiness. Even so, Stella refuses to lose hope, believing that this fresh start will finally bring positive changes to Sarah's life. That same night, Sarah writes in her diary, overwhelmed by sadness. She blames herself for being useless because of her illness. Moments later, she hears a rustling sound outside her window. She is startled when a figure suddenly jumps down from a tree. She quickly wakes Mimi and her mother, but both remain fast asleep. Determined to find the intruder, Sarah bravely steps outside. She wanders around until she reaches the shed where the werewolf was once kept. As she looks inside, hearing her cry, Stella and Mimi wake up and immediately rush to her. The next morning, Stella and Sarah notice a mysterious figure hiding inside one of the old wooden cages. Alarmed, Stella calls out, and a young man slowly emerges, covered in dirt and behaving like a wild animal. Feeling sorry for him, she offers him some food, which he devours within seconds. Stella and Sarah can only stare in disbelief at the shocking sight. Since the young man cannot speak and has no identification, Stella temporarily takes him in and names him Boy. She gives him a bath and provides him with clean clothes. During dinner, Boy devours everything on the table like a wild animal, much to Sarah's annoyance. The family watches him in stunned silence. One rainy day, Stella tells Sarah that she is going to the municipal hall to process Boy's legal documents. She notices Sarah reading a book and asks if she plans to return to school. Sarah simply responds with a smile. After Stella leaves, Sarah searches through the unopened boxes for the rest of her books. She suddenly notices Boy standing behind her and panics, thinking he is about to attack. She struggles and screams, only to realize that Boy is simply trying to help her carry the boxes. Embarrassed by the misunderstanding, Sarah gives him some food and apologizes. Boy quickly grabs it, then quietly returns to the floor and continues his drawing. A few moments later, Juancho arrives. Slightly irritated, Sarah tells him to leave because she wants to study. Ignoring her request, Juancho begins harassing her. Boy suddenly steps in and frightens him away, forcing Juancho to leave. Grateful for his help, Sarah thanks Boy. Sarah decides to teach Boy how to behave like a normal person. She teaches him to wait patiently for his food, eat with proper manners, keep himself clean, and help with household chores. Whenever Boy does something right, Sarah pats him on the head as if rewarding a well-behaved pet. Boy clearly enjoys the praise. One day, the family takes Boy to the town market. While Stella, Sarah, and Mimi browse clothes at a nearby stall, Boy quietly watches the bustling crowd. He soon wanders to an ice cream stand, prompting the three to follow and pay for the ice cream he picks up. Suddenly, Boy senses danger and pulls them into a protective embrace. Moments later, a large wooden beam crashes down and strikes him on the head. Stella, Sarah, and Mimi are horrified, but Boy remains completely unfazed. Back at home, Sarah gives Boy a small plant and tells him to take good care of it so it can one day grow into a large tree. During dinner, Stella worries about Boy after the wooden beam strikes him on the head. Mimi reassures her that he is perfectly fine and even spends the rest of the afternoon happily playing with them in the field. She then reminds Boy to look for the baseball he throws into Mang Josep's goat pen. Mimi asks her mother how much longer Boy will be staying with them. Stella explains that the municipal office is still searching for an orphanage where he can stay. That same night, Boy goes to Mang Josep's property to look for Mimi's baseball. Out of nowhere, a car crashes into the goat pen. Juancho is behind the wheel, heavily intoxicated, while his girlfriend panics after the accident. Boy calmly walks over and picks up an injured goat. Terrified by the sight of him, Juancho immediately drives away and flees the scene. One day, while Boy practices writing, Sarah decides to teach him how to speak. As she says, "Good boy," Boy quietly watches the movement of her lips. A moment later, he slowly leans closer to her face, as if he is about to kiss her. Sarah suddenly snaps out of her thoughts, realizing she is beginning to fall in love with him. A little later, Boy notices Sarah's guitar. She tells him that it is a gift from her father. Sarah begins playing and singing, while Boy watches her with quiet fascination. A few moments later, the phone rings. A municipal staff member informs Sarah that no orphanage is available for Boy, but a facility for people with disabilities is willing to accept him. Disturbed, Sarah claims they have the wrong number and hangs up. Late that night, while everyone else is asleep, a heavily intoxicated Juancho arrives at Sarah's house. Using his own key, he lets himself in without hesitation. When Sarah sees him, she urges him to go home. Juancho flies into a rage and insults her, claiming that he always gets whatever he wants. When Sarah refuses to back down, he suddenly hits her. Seeing Sarah get hurt, Boy flies into a rage and is about to attack Juancho, but Sarah stops him. Unbeknownst to them, Juancho has brought several goons with him and orders them to attack Boy. A brutal fight erupts. He easily overpowers the goons and is about to strike Juancho when Sarah intervenes. The moment she tells him to stop, Boy immediately backs down. Juancho later reports the incident to the authorities, falsely claiming that Boy tries to kill him and even transforms into a werewolf. The police chief is skeptical of his story, pointing out that Juancho is intoxicated and has illegally entered Stella's property. Since it is already late at night, the officers simply tell Juancho to go home and sleep off his anger. After the police leave, Juancho vents his anger by grabbing Sarah's guitar and smashing it in front of Stella. Meanwhile, Sarah breaks down in her room as Boy quietly comforts her. Before leaving, Juancho warns Stella to drive Boy out of the house, or he will evict them instead. The following morning, Boy is locked in the old shed. Juancho refuses to let Stella bring him bedding, insisting Boy is nothing more than an animal. Intimidated by Juancho, Stella remains silent. As Juancho prepares to leave, he discovers a set of old documents. They contain information about the experiments of the late scientist Dr. Domingo and Boy's true identity. Juancho immediately calls another scientist, Dr. Miliado, to reveal the secret he has discovered. Stella leaves for the municipal office. Meanwhile, Sarah visits Boy and gives him a copy of Lingit and the giant acacia tree. She asks him to keep practicing his reading and writing so that one day he can read the ending of the book to her. She also reminds him to take good care of the young plant she gives him, hoping it will one day grow into a large tree. A little later, Sarah invites Boy to go outside and watch the sunset. They happily run through the fields, but Sarah suddenly becomes exhausted, struggles to catch her breath, and collapses. Panicking, Boy carries Sarah on his back as he runs to find help. As darkness falls, Stella, the neighbors, and the police launch a desperate search, but cannot find them. After some time, they finally locate Boy with the unconscious Sarah lying on the ground. That night, Dr. Miliato visits Stella and reveals that Dr. Domingo's top-secret bioengineering project aimed to transfer animals' extraordinary abilities to humans for military use and to develop cures for diseases that could later be sold for an enormous profit. A man named Colonel Ricardo suddenly arrives, declaring the discussion classified. He warns that if Boy is linked to the experiment, he will be eliminated. Until then, Boy will remain under surveillance. Stella is left horrified. Not long afterward, Boy's test results come back. They reveal that he possesses extraordinary superhuman abilities. Moved by sympathy, Dr. Miliato instructs his assistant to keep the results confidential and report that Boy is nothing more than a normal human. Later, Sarah visits Boy in his cage. Through tears, she hugs him and assures him that she is doing well. Unbeknownst to them, their every move is being monitored through the CCTV cameras. Dr. Miliato informs Colonel Ricardo that Boy's test results indicate he is an ordinary human. Enraged, Juancho fabricates a story, falsely claiming that he saw Boy slaughtering Mang Josep's goats. After Juancho's accusation, Mang Josep, Aling Marie, and Juancho's girlfriend are questioned. Fearing Juancho, his girlfriend falsely implicates Boy, but the accusations convince no one, causing Juancho to storm out in frustration. As Mang Josep walks home, Juancho suddenly ambushes him and knocks him unconscious. He then cuts the power to Stella's house and secretly enters Boy's cage. Juancho tricks Boy into believing Mang Josep stole Sarah's guitar to avenge his dead goats. He urges Boy to retrieve the guitar before it is gone forever, manipulating him into believing he is helping Sarah. When the power comes back on, everyone notices on the CCTV footage that Boy has escaped. They rush to his cage, and moments later, Juancho suddenly arrives and claims that Boy has gone to Mang Josep's house. Meanwhile, Boy races to Mang Josep's home and desperately searches for Sarah's guitar. His frantic behavior leaves Aling Marie, Lola Letty, and the children confused. When Lola Letty asks what he is looking for, Boy silently shows her a drawing of a guitar. Soon, everyone arrives at Mang Josep's house. Terrified of Boy, Aling Marie, Lola Letty, and the children rush outside. Moments later, Boy emerges from the house. Sarah approaches him and pleads with everyone to let her speak to him first. Growing impatient, Juancho suddenly snatches a rifle from one of the soldiers and opens fire. Chaos erupts as he becomes completely unhinged. When he strikes Sarah, Boy is consumed by rage and transforms into a werewolf before everyone's eyes. Everyone stands frozen in shock, unable to believe what they have just witnessed. Boy then scoops Sarah into his arms and runs deep into the dense forest, sending everyone into a panic. Sarah and Boy spend the night in the middle of the forest. The following morning, Sarah wakes to the sound of gunfire. Fearing that Boy will be killed, she begs him to run away. Boy refuses to leave her side. Heartbroken, Sarah continues urging him to go.
Wait. Huwag kang umalis.
Even though it pains her to push him away. With a heavy heart, Sarah slowly walks away from Boy. Everyone is still searching for Sarah and Boy, who remain missing. After a while, Sarah walks toward them. Stella and Mimi rush to meet her, worried about her safety. When Colonel Ricardo asks Sarah where Boy is, she says that he escapes, and she does not know where he is. Colonel Ricardo still orders his men to continue searching for Boy. A week passes after Sarah leaves Boy behind. As she packs Boy's belongings, she remembers the time she gives him a book and a notebook. Before leaving, Sarah writes and leaves a letter for Boy. Hoping to move on from everything that has happened, Stella decides to leave Santa Monica and return to Manila. Back in the present, Sarah Rodriguez stands outside the old house as the real estate agent explains that, after R&R Trading went bankrupt, ownership of the property was transferred to Stella, who later left it to Sarah as her inheritance. Before putting the house up for sale, Sarah decides to spend one final night there. That night, Sarah wanders through the old house, reminiscing about the happy moments she shares with Boy. She suddenly snaps back to reality when she hears a rustling sound from a nearby tree. Curious, she follows the noise until she reaches Boy's old cage. Sarah is left speechless by what she finds. The cage is now overgrown with lush plants, and its interior glows with soft, warm lights. At the far end, Boy sits quietly on his wooden bed, looking exactly as he did decades earlier. She is even more astonished when she notices that the walls are covered with Boy's drawings of her. Moments later, Boy hands Sarah the letter she leaves behind before departing, along with the guitar he carefully repairs over the years. Overwhelmed with emotion, Sarah can hardly believe what she is seeing. She asks if he has been there all this time, faithfully waiting for her to return. Boy quietly nods. Tears stream down Sarah's face as she apologizes to him. She is consumed with guilt, realizing that while Boy spends decades waiting for her, she goes on to live a full life, fulfills her dreams, and even raises a family of her own. With quiet embarrassment, Sarah tells Boy that she has grown old and is no longer the young woman he once knows. Boy gently reassures her that she is still the same Sarah in his eyes and tells her how deeply he has missed her. His heartfelt words bring Sarah to tears once again. Boy begins reading Lingot and the Giant Acacia Tree to Sarah. Smiling warmly, she praises him and tells him how well he reads now. He continues reading until Sarah peacefully falls asleep. The following morning, Sarah wakes to find that Boy is no longer by her side. In his place, he leaves a drawing of the two of them together. Sarah gently holds the drawing close, cherishing it as his final gift to her. Before Sarah leaves, the real estate agent calls to ask if she still intends to sell the old house. Sarah tells the agent that she has changed her mind and decided to keep it. In the end, Sarah bids farewell to Santa Monica once again. Meanwhile, Boy sits beneath the acacia tree he has lovingly cared for over the years. Moments later, he runs freely through the open fields, finally finding the closure and freedom he has long awaited.